What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the BREWtally Speaking Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Terry, and with me, as always, is John Beatty. What's going on, man?
I am trying a new beer, courtesy of Mark from Nothing More. This is a double berry margarita from Weathered Souls Brewing in San Antonio, Texas. Let me get a good sip of this.
Interesting.
This is a weird thing to say. I almost get like a little hint of cinnamon in it.
Yeah, is it a little tart? You're kind of
kind
of smacking like it's a little tart.
Yeah, that's right up Mark's alley. Is anything sour?
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's weird. I definitely get a lot of cinnamon in that, and I don't know why.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that for a margarita flavored. Maybe it's like trying to simulate some sort of sugar, like if you get a frosted glass or something. I don't know. I don't drink very many margaritas, so. But yeah, you guys probably care about this week's guest, which is John Robert from the band Mantric. I do want to warn you guys, this episode, as far as my audio on it goes, I actually did not record this at my house like I normally would. I was working on a project at a friend's house, so my voice is very echoey throughout the entire interview.
Sunday.
Absolutely. So that was a little rough. We got through it. I actually thought that I was talking to Tor from Mantric. But I was not. I was talking to John, which is totally fine. I just wasn't necessarily prepped that I was going to be talking to John. So, but it was cool. We had a fun conversation. We talked a little bit about COVID in Norway, because it's not that often we get to talk to somebody from Norway and kind of figure out how this COVID thing is going in Scandinavia. Yeah,
it's something we've, not necessarily tried to talk about a whole lot, but I mean, it is called a global pandemic for a reason. So kind of hard not to. And especially, talking to someone that lives abroad. So, we do a lot of interviews where people live here in the States, and it's kind of like, oh, you're shut down too? All right.
Yeah. So how's your house been? Yeah. Which is funny because then I wasn't even at my house. So there's that. I was installing a garage door for my boss. So there, real life. But no, this is cool. I was really excited to find out that Mantric was putting out a new record called False Negative. They're kind of a band that doesn't put out a lot of content super quickly. It seems like there's quite a few gaps between their releases. And these guys also, they used to be in a band called Lengsel, which I was a huge fan of. They played like Norwegian black metal, kind of lo-fi, and then they went in, for the second Lengsel record, they went into kind of a direction that was more like experimental, like prog metal type of stuff. It's very weird, very artsy, but a lot of fun, and I think that they sound, that was almost, I feel like, kind of the blueprint for Mantric, is this kind of that more experimental sound, because the record actually surprised me in that it had kind of a Nine Inch Nails vibe to it, like a little bit more electronics and stuff, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot more like singy than I was expecting, but so it was just interesting getting to talk about it and kind of dig into the creative process. I had mentioned in the interview that these guys also played in the band Extol a while back when Extol went through kind of more of a stylistic change, and that was also kind of similar to what we got with Mantric as a band. So it's kind of cool because Extol eventually went back to their kind of older lineup, and they kind of went back to their older sound, but then you've got these guys doing Mantric where they're kind of continuing on that like experimental sound. So they definitely have a very interesting history. I don't know if they're a band that like a whole lot of people were really paying attention to before this release, but I think this is kind of their time to shine and kind of show people what they've got going on.
Yeah, I really don't know anything about this band or the other bands that they collectively were in, so this was all kind of new for me as a whole.
Oh man, I've been listening to Lengsel since I was like in high school, so it's kind of a different perspective on it.
Yeah, that would be where, I was probably listening to, depending on what year, Iowa by Slipknot. Probably would have been listening to a shitload of The Chronic 2001. The Blackout album by Method Man and Redman. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff that was not Extol or Lingsol or however you say that.
Lengsel.
Oh, Linksys? Oh, I had that once on my computer.
Yeah, no, that's Linux. How strong is that beer?
4%.
No, oh, wow, okay.
That's why it's got cinnamon in it.
I'm sitting over here in my Steel Reserve, like, what is going on right now? But no, this was cool. Like I said, I kind of regret that I was kind of like in a big echoey room whenever we did the interview, but I'm glad that I got to do it. I've been fans of those guys for a long time, so it was cool.
So without further ado, this is Dan's interview with John from Mantric, and we'll talk to you on the other side of it.
Let's see. Yeah.
There you are. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Cool. I'm doing good. It's middle of the day here for me in the U.S. So we're, but no, I was glad that you guys had time to talk tonight about this record. I'm gonna just jump into it, so I don't waste too much of your time tonight. But this record that you guys just put out is a little different sounding than what I had anticipated, and I was very surprised at it. As far as you guys were always kind of more of a progressive metal type of band, and this record has a lot more electronic, a lot more lush sounds. And so I guess I just wanted to get your perspective on that. You know, what the mindset was behind the change and all of that.
Yeah, I guess there are a lot of sounds and electric drums and effects like that. Yeah, that's true. I don't know the reason for that. I think it's just happened by itself. Usually when we make songs, we sort of do too much, but this time we tried to strip things down and then just try to wait until the end before adding all the ingredients, and then suddenly there was place for some electronics. And I think also because earlier on we've been like more jamming the songs together at rehearsals, but this time a lot of the songs have like have been made in the studio. So adding effects and synths just was natural to add in the studio. I guess that's the reason why. Yeah.
No, that's cool. No, I'm not even saying like it's a bad thing. It was a breath of fresh air to me. A lot of the bands that we talk about on the podcast are very it's all brutal all the time, you know, and it was kind of like a breath of fresh air for me, and being able to listen and kind of get a vibe. I heard definitely a lot more electronics. I've actually been following you guys for a while. I was a big X-Toll fan. I was a big Langsell fan, and
cool.
And one of the things that I kind of came to me as I was listening to the record was, you know, I get a little bit of that. A little bit of what was going on the X-Toll Blueprint record. I hear a little bit of similarities to that. I mean, obviously not exactly the same. It's kind of got its own flavor, but you know, you guys definitely kind of encapture that. And is that something? And I even noticed a little bit of the similarities to the second Langsell album. Is that something that you guys had started off, you know, very, very extreme with black metal and progressive metal and stuff like that? Has it kind of been your goal to kind of push more towards a more I'm going to say the word palatable, but I don't mean it to be in a negative sense. But are you guys just trying to go in more of just a like a rock direction, something that more people would enjoy, or is it just, you know, an intentional choice of this is just the record we wanted to write?
I think it has just been a natural development. I mean, like 20 years ago when we were playing Langsell and trying to be as black metal as we could, everything was about metal. So I guess just we have broadened our perspectives and started listening to more diverse music, and then our taste has changed. So I think it's just been a natural evolvement. But maybe I can see some of what you're saying about having similarities to the Blueprint album with X-Toll. I wouldn't say the songs are the same at all, but still some of the songwriting maybe. The sound is also very different, but most of the music on the Blueprint album was made by the guitarists in Mantric, Ole and Tor. So I think that would be the reason why. Maybe you can sense that.
Yeah, it's more of a vibe than a direct copy. You know, it's not a continuation of that record by any means or anything like that. But it was one of the more enjoyable things that I've kind of always enjoyed about the Mantric material is that it's more atmospheric, I guess, than just straight grind, you know, or straight metal. And so it's been, you know, a huge palate cleanser for me especially. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is you guys just recently signed with Tooth and Nail Records, Solid State here in the United States. Was that a record label that you were seeking out? I know that the Link Cell material had come out, or is that just like a continuation of an old contract, or is that a label that you kind of had wanted to be on?
Well, we didn't think much about it when we recorded our latest album. It's just came up as an option, and we thought it was a good idea. It was a bit like coming home, I guess.
Sure.
And we have a good experience with Solid State, so just felt good. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, we were all pretty excited here in the States about it to get, you know, that type of distribution and things like that. I know I had bought the Link Cell record on Solid State, and one of my favorites. The second one I actually enjoyed more. But the one of the questions too is, you know, one of the things that's going around here in the U.S. How has the worldwide pandemic or whatever it is that we have going on in the U.S. I assume it's much worse here in the U.S. than it has been elsewhere. But what does that look like in Norway for you guys?
It's all over the media all the time. It's about anything you can read in the media nowadays. The country has been shut down for over a month now, like everywhere else in Europe and eventually also in the States. And most people just try to work at home and do the best of it. It has gone pretty well, I think. Not so many have died from the virus.
Yeah.
So everyone has behaved and followed protocol and what the government has advised. But now the last few days, it's been like I've been more outside, and I see a lot of more people are moving around and the stores and stuff. I think it has to do with the schools are opening on Monday.
Yeah.
So everyone seems a bit more relaxed. I think it's not a good idea to totally relax, but at the same time, it feels good to not just stay inside your own bubble and watch the media, and feels like the world is going under. So
sure.
And also we have Norway is a very, very well organized country and has a very good economy. So we're really, really lucky to be here in Norway. So yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, because over here in the U.S., it's kind of getting people to follow the rules. I think is the biggest hurdle that we deal with, is getting people don't like to be told what to do, and and things like that. But
yeah, we see a lot of that in the media, and they follow the U.S. Closely. So yeah, it's a lot of things going on everywhere around the world, and they compare what to do, what to not to do. But it's too early to say which direction is the best one to go. Like in neighboring country Sweden, they have tried to be more open and let people come out and meet each other and have gatherings. And the idea is to create like a group immunity.
Yeah.
But they have had a lot more deaths than in Norway, so I don't know if it'll even out, but we'll see.
It's definitely a scary time, and with that, how that relates to music, with you guys dropping a new record, kind of in the midst of all of this, is there in any sort of fear or any sort of reservation in releasing an album in the midst of something like this, and that you may be worried that it may hurt sales, it may hurt, the potential to play out and things like that? Was that something that was considered in the release time, or was it just we're just going to get it out to people any way we can?
Yeah, well, we hadn't planned any tours or anything, so we didn't sort of lose any time or money or energy with that. But I think for all we know, it could be a good time to release an album. People are sitting inside and maybe they like to check out our album. So
yeah,
we don't know how it'll pan out, but I think for a lot of people that are on tour and suddenly have to go home, and it must be terrible.
Yeah, because they're losing kind of their I guess their meal ticket, so to speak, and it's just like losing a job. And
it is.
Do you guys have any plans when all of this blows over to maybe come over in the States? I know I've never seen you guys play live, but it would definitely be a big deal, for me at least. I don't know. Did you guys ever play out live with Langsell or?
Yeah, we played with Mantric. Usually it'll be after a release, like after the Descent album or Sin album, we would have some shows or a tour even. But Langsell we haven't played live only once. We played at a festival in Oslo, and it was like once in a lifetime thing, I guess. So I doubt we'll be coming over with Langsell to the US, but Mantric would be great to just go over and go on tour again. Would be, if we have the opportunity, I would love it. It's like one of my adult dreams now would be because we all have families and kids to take care of and responsibilities. So we can't just take off. It has to be responsible and have to work out money-wise.
Sure.
But one of my dreams would be just to go on tour with the guys and tour around the US. I have so many good memories from doing that with Axtol, for instance.
Yeah.
So that would be really great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I had noticed that, your guys' album release cycle has always been relatively spread apart, with records coming out, 5 years apart. Is that also kind of what you were talking about with the gap in releases? Is that just when inspiration strikes you guys, or is there a push, I guess, to make it more of a full-time band now versus where it was when it started? Yeah,
you're totally right. It's because of we have other obligations. We have kids and families, and just we don't have enough time. And before we had families, we were sort of I guess I was studying a lot and playing music on the side. Well, actually I was playing music and studying on the side, so it was just an easy life, and you didn't have to care about what happened when you get home. If you don't have any money after a tour, you could just get a job. It would no problem. I could move home for a month to my parents, no big deal. But you can't come home to a family with kids and have and can't pay the rent or the food even. So
sure.
That's it.
No, I totally get that. That's why I do it. That's why I do a podcast and I don't play music anymore, because I can't make the time for it and the upfront cost. Do you feel like it's gotten easier over the years to release music to people and it actually be heard and get people more excited about things ahead of time versus the old days where it seemed like you had to record a record, release it, and in order to get any hype up?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think in some ways it's a lot easier to record your material at home, and just you can live apart and just email ideas, and you can work on your computer, recording a guitar and send it off, and someone can record some vocals and bass, and it's easier in that way. But I think it's harder to get your music released these days, it seems, because there's so many bands and so many people doing the same thing, and it's so easy to put online, and I can't follow everything that's going on. I think it's impossible. So in the old days, I think it was easier. Maybe it was more difficult to get a contract, because once you were signed, you were sort of on the label.
Sure.
And you get money to record your album, and you do it within a few weeks maybe in the studio and work it all together. But today it's like, it's so spread. We don't know. We can use however long we want to make an album, and if you get on a label, you have to do your part, like in getting your music around. And I also heard that on some labels you have to pay to get on board. It's like very different from the old days, I think.
Yeah, no, and that's the whole thing, because everything is all streaming numbers now and things like that, whereas it used to be unit sales and things of that nature. The first thing I heard you on, obviously, was probably the first Lengsel album, as well as Extal as well, had ties in like the Christian music industry or the Christian metal stuff. And is that something that you guys are focusing on now, or something that plays a factor into Mantric now as a band, or do you guys consider yourselves more of like a general market?
I guess we never wanted to be promoted as a Christian band.
Sure.
And at some time we actually try to avoid it, because at least in Norway we have you get like a tag.
Right.
Whereas being on tour in the US, it would be something positive.
Right.
At least when we were touring with Extol. But it's not like it's been something that we try to promote ourselves. I guess it seems like today there isn't a Christian division in the US anymore, is there? Like a Christian market, do you know?
There is a bit of a Christian market. It's not like it used to be. I know probably 10 years ago it would be a totally different answer, but it's always a tag, and I can understand for obvious reasons in Norway and things like that it would be a negative. In the US it would be somewhat of a positive. But yeah, I think I want to say over the at least 3 years I've been doing podcasting and interviews and things, I have seen that shift quite a bit from for there are bands obviously that have certain beliefs or religion that they follow, but it doesn't always necessarily factor into the music, and it's not as much a reason I think why people would buy a record or go see a band, and so I've always kind of felt that way about you guys in Mantric specifically, is that it's never been it's more like a pushing of actual artistic expression more so than trying to deliver a specific message. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think it's both things at the same time, because you're writing lyrics and you have to write about something. So we write about what we believe and think, and so it's not like totally random what we write about, and growing up especially maybe entering Extol, who was labeled really as a Christian band, I guess it's formed my identity in a way. So it was very important at that time, but today it doesn't matter really if we're Christian or not. The music is more in focus, I guess. But we have also, I would say, evolved in that perspective as to what we believe in and what our views are on the world and the universe. But I still consider myself a Christian. But I guess I've just sort of found out that I'm not so sure about everything anymore, and there are a lot of difficult questions involved.
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess that's where I'm at right now. So I can speak for myself, yeah.
Well, and that's cool too. You know, like, because starting off in Christian music, there's always kind of a certain, I guess, pressure into writing about a specific thing or writing, you know, like to keep it, I guess, on brand, so to speak. And it sounds to me like, you know, we finally all reached a point in that music scene where people feel like they can just be honest, you know, about things.
Maybe you're right. Yeah. I feel comfortable with that now, maybe even more than previously. Yeah.
Well, no, that's awesome. And with this record coming out, you know, obviously, you know, nobody has tour plans or show plans right now. If you did have the opportunity to come to the United States, where specifically would you be the most excited about visiting?
I would like to go all over, but California would be great, and all the southern states also. We haven't played much on the East Coast, so that would be also really, really great. Yeah, I would like to go all over.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we would definitely love to have you. But I really appreciate you taking the time out to do the interview, and I'm really excited about the record. I think it's one of the coolest things that you guys have done, and it's brought me a lot of peace. Like, it was a huge palate cleanser for me, and it's very atmospheric. But it's also like fun and uplifting in places, and you know, not a lot of bands can do that, especially not in metal. You know, so
that's good to hear. Great.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I really appreciate it, man. And where can you and the band be found online for the people listening?
Online, I'm actually not quite sure, but we're on Spotify at least, and on iTunes. I think we're on Tidal, and at least if you go on Solid State Tooth and Nail, you'll find all the info you need. And MySpace, Facebook, of course. And we also have a web page, but I'm not entirely sure if that's up to date. But
yeah, that's okay. I can look at. I'll look it up and try and link all that stuff in our show notes. But yeah, I do appreciate you taking the time out, and you know, I hope you guys do well. I hope to see you guys in the States soon, and I'll come by and say hi.
That would be great.
Thanks a lot, John. I appreciate it. Yep, you too.
You too. Goodbye.
So that was my chat with John Robert of Mantric, and this was definitely, it was exciting for me because I've been such a fan of this band for such a long time, and obviously their previous work, you know, I've got CDs that I'm looking at right now on my CD shelf that all have that dude's name in them, so, this is definitely, probably, I'm not going to lie, like, probably not my best interview, but I was still glad that I got to do it, and I was glad that I got to talk to him and get a little bit of insight into their creative process.
You probably got the best looking one out of the band, if I can say that.
Oh yeah, man. A very handsome man, for sure.
I mean, when you were like, oh, I've been listening to this band for a long time, I'm like, wait, how old? This dude looks like he's like 22.
No, he's definitely been doing the metal thing since I was in high school, at least, which was like 1,000 years ago. When I think it was whenever I was in early high school, which was like 1973, and I think I was in my early 40s, you know, so.
Well, you know, I don't know what he's doing, Skin Regiment or any of that kind of stuff, but very much like you know, making weird comments about Howard Jones. I'm going to go ahead and make it weird for this Mantric episode.
absolutely. Always make it weird. Always make it weird. But yeah, I thought it was cool too, just hearing the places that he'd like to visit in the U.S. That was just kind of an exciting prospect for him once everything gets kind of back to normal, so to speak, and they actually can come and tour.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I don't really think of the adverse. Like if you were to ask us, like, where are you looking forward to going? You're like, oh, I'd love to go to somewhere in Europe. I'd love to go to Prague. I'd love to go to Reykjavik, Iceland, and so on and so forth. And for them to be like, I'd really love to go to Chicago and get a pizza, and you're like, sure, that's a thing you can do when you're here in the States. But it's just because we're so used to the other side of that coin that it just seems kind of very lackluster that someone wants to come here to the States.
Yeah, and I feel like as an American, like, I feel like we just tend to downplay everything. Like Chicago pizza is absolutely something you should be excited about if you've never had it.
Yeah,
like 100%. Like it's all sauce. It's a meat pie, but like that's what's great about it. Not so much New York pizza. I could leave New York pizza. It's just all super bland oil to me. But that's all right. Dude, don't worry about it. Like here in St. Louis, like our idea of pizza is like a cracker cut into squares. So like, don't even worry about it. And there I go. See, I'm downplaying it. That could be a major attraction to somebody. Yeah, it's really weird for me to hear a dude from Norway, which I think is a beautiful country. I've never been there, but I would love to go there. And he's probably sitting there thinking the same thing. He's like, yeah, we've got a lot of like forests and like a lot of metal bands, but like I don't know, like I would pay money to be as chill as this dude was during the interview. Like I'm so high strung, and so for him to be like super relaxed, and I was like nervous and like sweating because I was like, oh, I can hear my voice bouncing off the walls.
Sugar cold.
So 100%. But yeah. So I mean, this is a really cool record. If I haven't explained that, really, that I like. False Negative is a very different record. I think the first time you listen to it, you might be like, what did I just hear? Which is the entire point. I had to listen to it about 4 or 5 times before I started to feel like I got certain parts of it. But I really, it's a really enjoyable experience, and I really do hope that these guys are able to make it over to the States and kind of tear it up over here. Eat some Chicago deep dish pizza.
So Dan, where can Mantric be found? Because there was a glorious little tidbit there at the end that we both thought was very amusing.
Yeah, so I did ask him where the band could be found online, and he's like, yeah, MySpace. And I was like, I would actually be very impressed if I was able to pull up new Mantric songs on MySpace. Like that would be pretty, like, I'd be like, wow, I thought he messed up, but he was actually like dead serious. But if you actually want to find Mantric online, you can find them at Mantric on Facebook.com. And you can also find the band on Instagram at Mantric1. So check them out. You can stream False Negative anywhere. It came out on Solid State Records a little while ago. It's no secret that this is an interview that we kind of sat on for a little bit because I was so worried about my audio that I was like, I don't know if we should release it or not. But, we're going to release it because somebody cares.
And if you would like to keep up with all things this podcast, it's simple enough. BrewSpeak Pod, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check us out on YouTube. We've been posting our Instagram lives that we've been doing. Most recently, as of when you're hearing this, we did an episode with Barry Tomorrow with their vocalist Daniel, and we posted that everywhere. We've actually been trying to drop them into the feeds just because, some people don't have an hour to listen to everything on YouTube and watch it or on Instagram. So we're trying to just create new content, kind of drop it in where it fits. A lot of great content coming up as a matter of fact. We also, kind of speaking to Dan, mentioning that we had kind of been sitting on this episode a little bit, I found 3 episodes from the last probably 2 years that we haven't put out for one reason or another, and I think it'd almost be fun just to randomly drop them given how old they are. And a lot of people, will get rid of their old episodes or shelve things because they just don't like it for one reason or another. And I feel like if we took the time to do it, then fuck it, we should put it out. I don't know that we're going to do a full-on intro-outro thing. It might just be like hey, here's kind of a quick backstory to it. Maybe Dan and I will talk about that as we're doing these, Facebook Lives, as we're recording these or whatever. Still kind of figuring that out, but I think it's fun. I'm kind of learning from Dan, with just dropping different content under the feed like he does with Discuss Metal and Movie Mosh and a million other podcasts that he has. So be on the lookout for those. And Dan will tell you now where he can be found.
I can be found right here. I'm right here, dude. I'm on Facebook. specifically under Daniel Terry, and I'm on Twitter at DiscussMetalDan. You can always send me an email if that's your bag at DiscussMetalDan@gmail.com, and you can find my 1,000,004 podcasts. It's 1,000,004 now, John, by the way.
Okay.
Keep up. And you can find those at DiscussMetal.com. And yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty much, I mean, I gotta say, man, I'm pretty prolific these days, so just gonna buy that boat.
If you would like to support our sponsors, you can do such, starting with The Bean Bastard. Get some delicious coffee over at thebeanbastard.com, Facebook and Instagram at The Bean Bastard. Keep your hair and beard looking on point with On Point Pomade. Use our code BSP15 and get 15% off your total order. I've actually been using mine the last week or so since I got a haircut. I actually was sending Maddie a message and actually complimenting him on the product because it's actually really, really fucking good, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do, which isn't always the case when something is advertised to do something. It doesn't always live up to the hype. So I can actually say now 100% On Point Pomade. It is really great. Does keep your beard and hair looking on point. Not so much the beard from my perspective because I don't have one, but pomade works. And lastly but not leastly, rockabilia.com. Go to rockabilia.com, use our code BREW15, get 15% off your total order. They have over 500,000 items, so I guarantee there's something you're going to like, and you don't have to worry about the integrity of the clothing because it is 100% officially licensed gear. So not only are you getting awesome gear, but you're also supporting the bands as well because some of the money goes back to them, and you're supporting Rockabilia, who have amazing merch. So again, go to rockabilia.com, use our code BREW15, and get 15% off your total order. We take care of you over here at the Brewtally Speaking Podcast, thanks to our sponsors, so we want to thank them, and thank you for supporting us and them. And for the Brewtally Speaking Podcast, I am John.
And I am Dan.
We will talk to you all next time.
Oh, that fucking sucked. Oh, that fucking sucked. Shao Kahn, what'd you think?
That was pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach, what'd you think? Okay. Okay. I mean, I knew it was gonna fucking suck, but I think those guys were a little rude. Austin Powers?
How about new?
Okay, I thought we were going to get the Austin Powers vote. We did not. John, use that for your podcast. It fucking sucks. But you knew what you were getting into. It's your own fault. It will result in less listens. You're going to see a decline in listeners if you start the show with that. You're going to see 30 seconds in, the number will plummet. And I will be there at the bottom of the plummet saying, I fucking told you. Don't use this fucking riff. It sucks. But it's yours.